Just waiting for the signal from NBC. Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome, and good afternoon to the Namibian nation. It is my honor and privilege to welcome you all to today's press briefing, which the Electoral Commission of Namibia has convened to update the nation through the media on the conclusion of the special voting conducted on the 13th of November 2024 in accordance with Section 64(2) of the Electoral Act number 5 as amended. As a commission, we are pleased to share with you that despite challenges experienced during the conduct of the poll for special voting, the election was successfully concluded. All polling stations closed at 2100 hours as provided for in terms of the Electoral Act, and as per the Commission's commitment, all voters in the queue by 2100 hours were attended to. The last vote was cast at 4 a.m. this morning at the Osona polling station in the Omatako constituency. The counting process commenced immediately after the close of polls at all polling stations, and the first results were announced in Opuo constituency at the Opuo polling station at around 10 minutes to midnight. While the counting and the results announced for the Omatako constituency concluded at approximately 1300 hours this afternoon. Equally, voting abroad was successfully conducted with no incidents or challenges reported. All polling stations at the 35 Namibian Diplomatic Missions closed at 2100 hours in the respective time zones, and the results were announced and posted as per the standard procedures. Furthermore, the Commission is in particular satisfied with the performance of the enhanced voter verification device, which instantly searches for a voter and greatly improved the process of verification of voters. Preliminary turnout indicates that 14,203 ballots were cast locally, while 2,147 ballots were cast at our Namibian Diplomatic Missions. Based on these figures and the preparations put in place by the Commission, an additional 6,203 voters in this category turned up for special voting, more than the initially planned turnout of 8,800. Despite the fact that these numbers were not communicated to the Commission in advance by the relevant stakeholders, all efforts were put in place to ensure that no voter was disenfranchised. The following was the turnout of voters per region as announced and posted by the presiding officers at various polling stations. Karas, 1,171. I'm talking about the turnout. Erongo, 2,542. Hardap, 614. Kavango East, 742. Kavango West, 276. Komas, 2,016. Kunene, 450. Ohangwena, 707. Omaheke, 451. Omusati, 873. Oshana, 1,407. Oshikoto, 824. Ochodonjupa, 1,601. And Zambezi, 529. Turnout at each diplomatic mission is as follows. Algiers, 5. Angola, Luanda, 30. Angola, Menong, 9. Angola, Onjiva, 144. Austria, Vienna, 27. Belgium, Brussels, 40. Botswana, Gaborone, 33. Brazil, Brasilia, 6. China, Beijing, 38. Congo, Brazzaville, 7. Cuba, Havana, 34. DRC, Lubumbashi, 7. DRC, Kinshasa, 16. Egypt, Cairo, 10. Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, 24. Finland, Helsinki, 31. France, Paris, 26. Germany, Berlin, 108. Ghana, Accra, 12. India, New Delhi, 44. Japan, Tokyo, 10. Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, 19. Nigeria, Abuja, 6. Russia, Moscow, 36. South Africa, Cape Town, 783. South Africa, Pretoria, 160. Senegal, Dakar, 9. Sweden, Stockholm, 27. Switzerland, Geneva, 36. Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, 30. United Kingdom, London, 127. United States of America, New York, 45. United States of America, Washington, D.C., 33. Zambia, Lusaka, 148. Zimbabwe, Harare, 27. The total is 2,147. This is indeed a commendable turnout, and we thank those that have turned up to vote, while urging Namibians who have not yet voted to equally turn up in numbers on the 27th of November 2024 to vote. I would like to take this opportunity to express our deepest appreciation for the hard work and dedication that the media continues to show, especially as we approach the upcoming general elections. The role of the media is invaluable, and as a commission, we recognize and appreciate the crucial part you play in ensuring that information reaches all corners of our society. The Commission is committed to ensuring that all Namibians have access to the information they need regarding elections. Our goal is to ensure that every eligible voter is aware of the election dates, the voting procedures, polling stations, and their constitutional rights and responsibilities. That is why we call on the media to continue being the source of information to the electorate and general public as our trusted partner in these efforts. Your involvement and accurate reporting is more important now than ever. In these times, it is not just about sharing the right information timely and accurately. It's also about dispelling the myths, rumors, and false narratives that tend to circulate during an election period. As you know, misinformation, particularly in the form of fake news, can sow confusion and mistrust in the electoral process. By fact-checking, verifying sources, and providing clear, accurate information, you can assist the Commission in combating false narratives that may undermine public confidence in the electoral system. We want to assure you that the ECN remains an open and transparent organization. Should you require any information or clarification, we are here to provide you with that information. Our doors are always open for you to engage with us. I now thank you for your attention and invite the CEO, Mr. Peter Sharma, to address us on key electoral activities that are lined up for the 27th of November. But perhaps we should stop there. If there are questions relating to special voting, we can attend to them, and thereafter the CEO can take the floor and brief the nation on the preparations for the 27th of November. Thank you very much.
Questions? Yes, please.
Good afternoon, dear Namibian son. Just two things from my side. Some of the parties have been complaining, especially yesterday, that there's the issue of the list of the names, the presidential candidates and the National Assembly candidates not being gazetted. Does it have any impact on the bearing on legality of the process so far. And the issue of setting up stations at the military facilities, whether it's the barracks and so on. I mean, I understand from the Ministry of Defense that they have communicated with the ECN that they don't think it's wise to have these polling stations on those facilities because it sort of disenfranchises soldiers. But then the ECN, they were surprised that the ECN put up a polling station at Osona. What was the thinking around there?
Okay.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Okay, on the gazetting of the candidates and also the all candidates that were nominated for the National Assembly, we did send that information through to the Ministry of Justice because we know that is something that needs to be done. I just need confirmation from the legal team whether indeed that was done. But we have, it's a day after nomination, we send that information through to the Ministry of Justice. It was gazetted, wasn't it?
Yes, Chair, I was informed it was gazetted yesterday.
Yeah, so that was done. Okay, so on Osona, I am actually a bit puzzled by your statement that says the Ministry of Defense was surprised. What we've done is we sent them the draft of the polling stations and where we are planning to put up the polling stations. Yes, the understanding was that it should not be within the base, but they did not raise the concern of us being in close proximity with Osona. But I can confirm that we shared the drafts with them just like we did with the police. And the initial draft, yes, there were polling stations that were inside the base. We had to remove it and seek for alternative venues. So if there was a concern, they would have pointed it out at that point in time. Any further questions? None? Okay. Yes, please.
July from NBC. We spoke about misinformation and disinformation. So there's this election result circulating on social media. How true are they? Can you confirm that those are true or not?
Okay, Director of Operations.
The results, and also as explained yesterday, once the presiding officer posts the results at the polling station as provided for in terms of the law, those results are then posted at the entrance or at the polling station. Once that is done, those results becomes public information. However, those results that are circulating on social media are not results that was circulated by ECN. It's not our presiding officers that has posted those results. And as also indicated to the media yesterday, these results, and especially for foreign missions, needs to be returned. They also need to be submitted to the returning officer. They need to be verified, and all these processes takes place on 27th of November as provided for in the law, once the polling stations locally closes. So as the Chairperson has also indicated, and as the results that she has now read, is what we have received from our various presiding officers, returning officers from all the constituencies. This verification process in terms of the law only takes place on the 27th.
Thank you. Further questions on special voting? None. All right. Okay.
There is a curiosity in the public space of the voters. So what do you suggest media does when we are reporting on these results? What do we rely on? What information do we rely on?
You should rely on the information that ECN is going to publish, because you see, these are people that are taking pictures and just sending, on social media. And as a commission, we cannot circulate the same information because we have procedures that we must follow. They must be signed off by the returning officers. And that is the procedure that we're going to stick to. In as much as there is curiosity, we cannot bypass our procedures. These are results, and we have to handle them in line with the Electoral Act. Yes, please.
So thank you very much, Ms. Jasper from Hit Radio. During the previous elections, there was a website called elections.na that provided the results online. Currently it's not online. Are there any plans to bring it back online? And can we expect that then on the 22nd with these results now from the special vote?
Okay. Sonia?
Yes, our election results website portal will be up again. We intend to launch it next week. Equally also our mobile applications. You remember in 2019 we also had the mobile apps both for Android as well as Apple. Those will also be going live again next week, which would be also our official page where we would be sharing the results as we receive them from the 27th of November. Equally the results of the foreign missions and the special voting that has been announced yesterday. Once they are verified and have gone through the processes as provided for in terms of our procedures as the chairperson has indicated, they will then also be uploaded on those official platforms.
Let me just explain that it's very important that we have the returns, those forms that you see circulating. We need the form, the original returns, before we can pronounce ourselves. And that is why we are steering away from, just taking anything on social media and then reposting it on our Facebook page. We have to follow procedures.
So maybe what are some of the lessons from yesterday's process that you've drawn? What is it that you think you can still improve, especially from a logistics point of view?
Okay. I again repeat that we were relying on the information that was provided, and that was our guide in terms of the logistical planning. But the lesson is then that for special voting, we must just be prepared to serve everybody who is within that cluster and not rely on the numbers that we're going to be given, because the assurance was that the people that are going to vote on special voting day are the uniformed forces that would be on duty on the 27th of November. But it appears that there was then a directive given that all of them can go and vote. So in terms of improving our logistics for the future, we'll just plan for everybody who's falling within that cluster. Because then, if my take is this, that if there was an idea from the cluster that they might want everybody to vote, they should have alerted the commission. But now out there, it looks like you are not, adequately prepared and so on. We were given the assurance that not everybody will come and vote on the 13th, but only those that are going to be on duty on the 27th of November. So that is really what I would suggest that we do in future. And it doesn't matter how many will turn up for special voting, but we would have done, maximum planning for everybody who falls within that category. And that is what was done in the past, but then when you give an assurance that, no, it's not necessary, to go all out, then you adjust your plans accordingly.
On the 27th, can you make a special provision for the journalists? Because the journalists are also working on that day. They also need to vote. Going to stand in a queue with the camera.
Okay.
Is this something you can look at?
Well, let me answer the question this way, that as journalists, obviously, you would be part of the people that are witnessing the opening procedures. So which means that you should be at the polling stations by 6 a.m. because that is when we start with the opening procedures. And which then implies that if you are in the polling station, then you would be amongst the first ones to vote at 7 o'clock when the polling station opens. That is the only way that we can accommodate you. And that is the advice that the Commission is giving to you, that be part of the opening procedures, just like we would also want you to be part of the closing procedures to cover both, and therefore it implies that you are going to be quite early in the polling station. Can I confirm that you all have your accreditation? You all do, so
No.
that is sorted.
Not everybody.
You don't have. What happened? Did you apply? If you have not applied, please make sure contact Siluka, because we don't want to be bogged down with dealing with accreditation when we are running around, with other issues on election day. It must be done prior. And in fact, our deadline was the 31st of October, and your media card must be attached. Without that, we cannot grant you access to the polling stations. But get your accreditation as soon as possible, please. Further questions? Okay, all right, we've concluded this part then. I will give the floor to the CEO to talk to us about the 27th of November. CEO.
Thank you, Chairperson, Commissioners, colleagues, members of the media, good afternoon. My name is Peter Sharma, the CEO of Electoral Commission of Namibia. I'm just going to give you briefly the highlights, where we are heading. Maybe before we go to that, I would like just to give you a summary of the key milestones that would or will bring us to the 27. As we all know that when we launched our calendar, we have shared 5 key dates and key electoral activities that serve as a cornerstone of our electoral calendar. These dates are gazetted and or approved by the heads of the state, who is the president, and forms the foundation of our electoral calendar. And these dates have related activities that we would have performed. The first date has to do with the general registration of voters, which is from the 3rd June to the 1st August. That we have already done. The second date is the 14th October. That has to do with the nomination of independent candidates who were aspiring to participate as presidential candidates. And then the third date is the nomination by political parties to nominate candidates for presidential elections and members of parliament. That was done. And then the fourth one is the 13th November, which is a special day, special voting inside the country and voting at all our Namibia Diplomatic Missions abroad. That was concluded yesterday. What is now left is only the 27 out of the 5 critical dates that are statutory, which is the 27 November 2024, which is the voting inside the country. And we are well on track with the preparation. So what are the lined up electoral activities for this day, the 27th? As we have already shared with you, where we are now, we are busy packing and distributing, or busy with the packing and distribution of sensitive election materials, which we have already started on the 11th, and we expect this to end on the 17th November 2024. After that, we expect the dispatch of these sensitive materials to all our regions under police escort. And these will be stored at our regional police stations. The next one is the training of election officials or polling officials in cluster training centers. That will start 15 up to the 23rd November, which is tomorrow, and this will be done countrywide. And then the other activity again is the accreditation of observers and the media, locally and internationally. So, as we communicated earlier, consideration is still work in progress, and the Commission will provide further updates. And I'm glad that most of you have received your accreditation cards. And for those who did not yet, as the chair indicated, please do so. Otherwise, you will not have access to polling stations. That is a must. Without it, no entry or access. So we have also, in terms of the law, the activity has to do with the issuance of duplicate voter cards. In terms of the law, we are required to issue duplicate voter cards, and that will start from the 18th to the 26th November. And this will be done at all our 121 constituencies. In the past, starting from 2020, before that, we were only doing that at head office. In 2019 and 2020, we decentralized to all our 14 regions. But this year, we are decentralizing to the constituency level to make sure that we bring services close to our electorate. What are the requirements? This provision is made for those registered voters whose cards are lost or damaged or destroyed. So it's not for free. A voter must get a police declaration indicating or outlining the circumstances why he or she is applying for a duplicate. And equally, a voter must be able to produce proof of identity so that we must verify that indeed it is the right voter applying for that particular duplicate voter card. Then the next one is now, we are coming closer to the day now, is the deployment of teams that will start from the 25th to the 26th November 2024. Because some of the teams will be deployed in far and hard to reach areas. They need to be deployed on the 25th already to make sure that they are ready for the 27th. And the majority will be deployed on the 26th November. So the other activity that we are talking about, which is very critical, without it we cannot talk about a successful electoral process, is the voter and civic education that we have already started immediately after the general registration of voters. And as of the 3rd August already, with the preparation, and we are hard at work to make sure that we reach all the corners. And we will do this until the 27th November, on the day of voting, to make sure that every voter has the message to go and cast his or her vote. The last one is the end, which is to thank you. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Are there any questions on what the CEO presented? Okay, it appears it's clear. So that was the last part of this briefing. And I would like to thank you very much for coming to the media briefing, and we'll...
You said the poll starts at 6 a.m. No, the opening
opening
procedures. What time do the polls open?
7.
7, and what time do they close?
2100 hours. 2100 hours. Yeah.
And for people who maybe come, if the poll is closing at 21 and there are still people in the line, you'll allow them all to vote?
Yes.
Okay.
We will do that.
Nobody will be turned away?
Nobody will be turned away, just like we have not turned anybody away if they were in the queue by 2100 hours on special voting day. And in my remarks, I indicated that the last person at Osona voted at 4 a.m. It means that that person was in the queue by 9 p.m. But a minute after 9, we then, technically the polling station is closed.
And what are the rules for the people who are coming to vote in terms of what they are allowed to wear, no playing loud music? How must people conduct themselves
Okay.
on that day?
All right. Zenia.
Yes, in terms of the procedures, people are encouraged not to wear party colors when they come to the polling station. And then also the law also provides that canvassing of votes, in other words campaigning, should not take place within 500 meters of a polling station.
And of course, the most important one to say, have your voter's card. Only the cards that we issued in the 2024 GRV are valid for this election. So if you come with a card that was issued prior to that, you will not be able to vote. 2024 GRV. The cards that we've issued, those are the only ones that are valid.
Chairperson, maybe I can also just add one issue I think that was of concern for us yesterday at some of the polling stations. Yes, we know we live in a modern technology era, and that I think most of the journalists these days make use of their phones when they need to record the interviews or do videos. But I think there was a concern also that some of the journalists do use their phones inside the polling station to call or to engage with others at other polling stations. We kindly ask you that we do allow you, because you are a journalist and because you use this device, also to do recording and also to probably do recording either audio or visual, but please restrict it to that. Please restrict it to that, and please do not use your mobile phone inside the polling station to make calls other than using it for interview purposes or take the visuals.
In terms of hawkers, people who want to take advantage of the polling stations to do business on that day, will they be allowed to sell their sweets and their cool drinks and stuff like that?
That is not within the purview of the Commission, falls within the local authority regulations.
Okay, and thank you very much, colleagues.
I just want to make a question. Is there any state on the total number of votes that were cast, or are there any spots that were recorded?
Tanya?
As the Chairperson has indicated, what we have announced and what the Chairperson has announced is turnout. So the results as they are announced at the polling station needs to still be submitted to the returning officer for the collation, for the verification to ensure that they were correctly completed by the presiding officers. So as a result of that, we do not have those statistics yet to say that so many were rejected, so many were spoiled ballot papers, because it needs to go through the processes. So what we are announcing is the turnout.
And I think what is critically important is to say that the procedure of announcing result should be followed. From polling station to a collation center, where the returning officer is required to collate all those preliminary results, announce, post, and transmit to head office. Still preliminary until these preliminary results are verified and certified by the commission. Then we talk about final. That's why we are sticking to the turnout, because this is still subject to the due processes that has to take place in terms of the law.
And I think, taking cue from this question, it's important that the Commission just issues a media statement to explain to the nation what the procedures are and why we cannot put ourselves in a position to basically just repost results that are circulating on social media. We have procedures that we must follow, and we really have to stick to that. So we're going to then issue a media release to explain to the nation what the procedures are. Because I think I'm sensing in the room that the expectation was that you'll also start seeing something on the social media pages of the institution, of the ECN. It would have been the right thing to do, but we have to follow due process. We really should follow due process. Thank you very much.